I was kicking and punching. I'd been in plenty of fights before, but this big girl Clarice had hands like iron. She dragged me into the girls' bathroom. There was a line of toilets down one side and a line of showers down the other. It smelled just like any public bathroom, and I was thinking, as much as I could think with Clarice's ripping my hair out, that if this place belonged to the gods, they should have been able to afford classier johns. Clarice's friends were all laughing, and I was trying to find the strength that I used to fight the Minotaur, but it wasn't there. "Like he's Big Three material?" Clarice said as she pushed me towards one of the toilets. "Yeah, right. Minotaur probably fell over laughing, he was so stupid looking." Her friend snickered. Annabeth stood in the corner watching through her fingers. Clarice bent me over on my knees and started pushing my head towards the toilet bowl. It reeked like rusted pipes and, well, like what goes into toilets. I strained to keep my head up. I was looking at the scummy water thinking, I will not go into that. I won't. Then something happened. I felt a tug in the pit of my stomach. I heard the plumbing rumble, the pipes shudder. Clarice's grip on my hair loosened. Water shot out of the toilet, making an arc straight over my head, and the next thing I knew, I was sprawled on the bathroom tiles, with Clarice screaming behind me. I turned just as water blasted out of the toilet again, hitting Clarice straight in the face so hard it pushed her onto her butt. The water stayed on her like the spray from a fire hose, pushing her backwards into a shower stall. She struggled, gasping, and her friends started coming towards her. Then the other toilets exploded too, and 6 more streams of toilet water blasted them back. Then the showers acted up too. Altogether, the fixtures sprayed the camouflage girls right out of the bathroom, spinning them around like pieces of garbage being washed away. As soon as they were out the door, I felt the tug in my gut lessen, and the water shut off as quickly as it started. The entire bathroom was flooded. Annabeth hadn't been spared. She was dripping wet, but she hadn't been pushed out the door. She was standing exactly in the same place, staring at me in shock. I looked down and realized I was sitting on the only dry spot in the whole room. There was a circle of dry floor around me. I didn't have one drop of water on my clothes. Nothing. I stood up, my legs shaky. Annabeth said, "How did you do that?" "I don't know." We walked to the door. Outside, Clarice and her friends were sprawled in the mud, and a bunch of other campers had gathered around to gawk at her. Clarice's hair was flattened across her face. Her camouflage jacket was sopping, and she smelled like sewage. She gave me a look of absolute hatred. "You are dead, new boy. You are totally dead." I probably should have let it go, but I said, "You want to gargle with toilet water again, Clarice? Close your mouth." Her friends had to hold her back. They dragged her towards cabin 5 while the other campers made way to avoid her flailing feet. Annabeth stared at me. I couldn't tell whether she was just grossed out or angry at me for dousing her. "What?" I demanded. "What are you thinking?" "I'm thinking that I want you on my team for Capture the Flag." Chapter 7. My dinner goes up in smoke. Word of the bathroom incident spread immediately. Wherever I went, campers pointed at me and murmured something about toilet water. Or maybe they were just staring at Annabeth, who was still pretty much dripping wet. She showed me a few more places: the metal shop where kids were forging their old swords, the arts and crafts room where satyrs were sandblasting a giant marble statue of a goat man, and the climbing wall, which actually consisted of 2 facing walls that shook violently, dropped boulders, sprayed lava, and clashed together if you didn't go to the top fast enough. Finally, we returned to the canoeing lake where the trail led back to the cabins. "I've got training to do," Annabeth said flatly. "Dinner's at 7:30. Just follow your cabin to the mess hall." "Annabeth, I'm sorry about the toilets." "Whatever. It wasn't my fault." She looked at me skeptically, and I realized it was my fault. I'd made the water shoot out of the bathroom fixtures. I didn't understand how, but the toilets had responded to me. I had become one with the plumbing. "You need to talk to the Oracle," Annabeth said. "Who?" "Not who. What. The Oracle. I'll ask Chiron." I stared into the lake, wishing somebody would give me a straight answer for once. I wasn't expecting anybody to be looking back at me from the bottom, so my heart skipped a beat when I noticed 2 teenage girls sitting cross-legged at the base of the pier, about 20 feet below the water. They wore blue jeans and shimmering green t-shirts, and their brown hair floated loose around their shoulders as minnows darted in and out. They smiled and waved as if I was a long-lost friend. I didn't know what to do, so I waved back. "Don't encourage them," Annabeth warned. "Naiads are terrible flirts." "Naiads?" I repeated, feeling completely overwhelmed. "That's it. I want to go home now." Annabeth frowned. "Don't you get it, Percy? You are home. This is the only place safe enough for Earth kids like us." "You mean mentally disturbed kids?" "I mean not human. Not totally human, anyway. Half human. Half human, half what? I think you know. I didn't want to admit it, but I was afraid I did. I felt a tingling in my limbs, a sensation that I sometimes felt when my mom talked about my dad. God, I said. Half God? Annabeth nodded. Your father isn't dead, Percy. He's one of the Olympians.